Once upon a time in the cozy little town of Whiskerwood, there lived an orange, fat, chubby cat named Marmalade. Marmalade was known throughout the neighborhood for his round belly, plump cheeks, and his love for all things edible. He had a fondness for fish, chicken, and most of all, cream. Marmalade's daily routine involved lounging on sunny windowsills, chasing the occasional butterfly, and indulging in delicious treats that his owner, Mrs. Whiskers, would lovingly provide. One sunny morning, Marmalade awoke to find Mrs. Whiskers reading a book titled, Healthy Pets, Happy Pets. She looked at Marmalade with a concerned expression and sighed. "Marmalade, my dear, I think it's time we put you on a diet," she said gently. Marmalade's ears perked up, and he tilted his head in confusion. Diet. The word sounded ominous. Mrs. Whiskers began by replacing his usual bowl of cream with a dish of water. Marmalade stared at it, then looked up at her with big, pleading eyes. "No more cream, Marmalade. It's for your own good," she said, patting his head. Next came the food. Instead of his usual fish and chicken, Marmalade was presented with smaller portions of lean cat food. Determined to make the best of his situation, Marmalade decided to take matters into his own paws. He started his days with a bit of exercise, chasing the red dot of a laser pointer that Mrs. Whiskers would play with. Though he missed his lazy mornings, he found that running around the house was surprisingly fun. He also took to climbing his scratching post more often, trying to reach the top and feel like the king of the jungle. However, Marmalade's biggest challenge was resisting the temptation of delicious smells wafting from the kitchen. One day, as Mrs. Whiskers was baking a batch of tuna cookies, Marmalade's nose twitched, and he couldn't help but sneak into the kitchen. He eyed the counter where the cookies were cooling, his mouth watering. But just as he was about to leap up, Mrs. Whiskers caught him. "Oh no, you don't, Marmalade," she laughed, scooping him up and giving him a gentle hug. Days turned into weeks, and Marmalade slowly adjusted to his new diet and routine. He began to feel lighter and more energetic. He could jump higher, run faster, and his once tight collar now fit comfortably around his neck. Marmalade even started to enjoy his healthy meals, finding that they gave him more energy for his adventures around the house and garden. One day, Mrs. Whiskers took Marmalade to the vet for a checkup. The vet was amazed at Marmalade's transformation. "Well, look at you, Marmalade. You've lost weight and you're looking healthier than ever," he exclaimed. Mrs. Whiskers beamed with pride, and Marmalade purred loudly, happy to have made his owner proud. As they returned home, Marmalade jumped out of his carrier and strutted confidently through the house. He had done it. He had embraced his new lifestyle and emerged as a healthier, happier cat. From that day forward, Marmalade enjoyed his days even more, knowing that sometimes a little change is all it takes to feel your best. And so, Marmalade continued to live a joyful life in Whiskerwood, still indulging in the occasional treat but always balancing it with plenty of play and exercise. He was not just Marmalade the chubby cat anymore. He was Marmalade the mighty, Marmalade the fit, and most importantly, Marmalade the happy. And they all lived happily ever after,